This is the Palin Update on Saranet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
He's been consistent in wanting to protect the most vulnerable in the sanctity of life. He's been consistent in saying we need to slash the federal income tax.
As the race for the White House heats up, Palin backers wonder if and when Governor Palin will endorse a candidate. Palin has stopped short of officially throwing her support behind a GOP hopeful, but she has spoken out in favor of some, and recently she expressed her confidence in former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum. Santorum has been polling low, but he is a favorite of many values voters, and some feel if there is to be a dark horse in this wild primary ride, perhaps Santorum may be that long shot with a real shot. We heard from Newt Gingrich last month. Today, our presidential candidate series continues with Rick Santorum. Senator, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Now, what I've really liked about your campaign thus far is even though you've been polling in single digits, you've kept things positive. I've heard you say, yes, we're in single digits now, but not one vote has been cast yet. Is that still the approach, and do you see those numbers climbing a bit?
We do. We actually see those numbers climbing out here in Iowa. I'm here in Dubuque right now, and we had another good crowd. Our crowds have been substantially better the last couple of weeks, and we feel like our time is coming, that people are getting serious. They're starting to look seriously at all the candidates, and they're looking for someone who's provided strong leadership, who's and been a conviction conservative, gone out there and had the courage of their convictions to lead on the difficult and tough issues of the day, and do so with success. And that's a good combination that we bring to the table, and we're looking forward to continuing to share that with the people of Iowa and across the country.
Governor Palin recently paid you some high praise, unprompted, too. She was merely asked about the race, not you specifically, and she mentioned you and only you out of all the candidates. One, what did you think of that? And two, has Palin's show of support made any kind of difference?
Well, number one, I was blown away and just was I was very, very honored that she would do so. Sent her a little note and just thanking her, and that, when you're out there, she knows you're out there, working away. She's been in politics. She knows these things. And when someone someone that you respect throws you a praise, that means the world. It was a great encouragement to us. And I will tell you, ever since she said it, our fundraising has dramatically increased online. Our online traffic to our website has dramatically increased. I think she said in that interview that her endorsement or support would not make any difference. Let me assure you that is not the case, at least not from the indications that we've seen online over the past 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, I did notice you on social networking there mentioning about the smaller contributions coming in, and I thought that made a lot of sense because, maybe folks, we're not talking about multimillionaires here, but people who believe in the values.
That's right. Sarah's base is what I'd like to and hope to be mine, which is, the average American out there, who's working hard, who has strong traditional values, believes in a strong American limited government, and isn't looking for anything from Washington, D.C., and doesn't have a big stake in the government game, but has a stake in America.
Kevin Scholla on Saranet Radio. This is the Palin Update. We're joined by Senator Rick Santorum. Senator, one thing the governor and I think many of her supporters like about you is your consistency. Do you find that to be one of your best attributes? And specifically on the issue of life, have you proven your commitment there as compared to the other candidates?
Yeah, I really appreciated her comment on that because that's what I've been saying throughout the course of this campaign. If you're looking for someone, I always say, that I may be boring because I am so consistent. I don't have a lot of explaining to do.
Sure.
I'm boring both in my personal life. Been married 21 years, 7 kids. No scandals. We've also showed the courage to be bold in fighting for things that are important, and certainly no one has worked harder on the issue of life in this field than I have, and I was able to work together with all of the pro-life groups and lead a successful effort to pass major abortion legislation, to eliminate partial birth abortion. I was the author of that bill, and we were able to get that done, and it took repeated efforts But yet it was a blessing because we were able to fight year after year and raise the consciousness of the issue. Bill Clinton would keep vetoing the bill, and we kept trying to override it. And it was a huge issue for a long time, and for the first time after that series of vetoes and override attempts, attitudes on abortion changed because people understood what abortion was really all about. It was taking the life of an innocent child, and that that effort led to other efforts. We passed the Unborn Victims of Violence Act, the Born Alive Infant Protection Act. That was my bill, and I was leading on that issue in the United States Senate. And I'll mention one other point, and this is important because I know the governor talks about this a lot, and that is the federal judiciary run amok. When the Supreme Court said that the partial birth abortion statute, one passed by Nebraska, was unconstitutional, when President Bush came into office, I worked with Henry Hyde, and I said, you know what? We're not going to sit on the sidelines and let the court have the final say on this. They're wrong. And so we repassed a partial birth abortion bill that the court, basically found unconstitutional. And we wrote 2 sections in the bill that said, you're wrong. You got it wrong. Here are the facts. Here's what the law should be. And we passed it. President Bush signed it. And guess what? 5 years after they struck down one decision, they reversed themselves and said, no, we find this constitutional. So it's important to understand that a president and a Congress, they're equal branches of government. They have a right to say what is constitutional, and they don't have to sit on the sidelines and let the court try to run everything out of the Supreme Court.
See, now that's a real tangible record that I think folks can really take a look at and vote on. Now, that brings me to this. Obviously, the economy is huge in this race, but won't values still play a role, too? People seem to think it's all economy and nothing. And if values do play a role, I would think you'd have a real shot here to get some votes from those voting on social issues.
Well, I would say this, that, anybody that believes that we can have a strong America, a strong economy, and limited government with the family continuing to break down doesn't understand what the foundational greatness of America is about. I've used the number, and this is one aspect, but it's important. Single-parent families, and I know there are a lot of heroic single moms and dads out there trying to make ends meet and pull it together, but it's harder, and it turns out to be harder. The numbers show it. That almost 40% today of single-parent households are in poverty. But among two-parent households, the poverty rate is 8%. So what we're talking about here is the impact on our economy of the brokenness of the family, of divorce and out-of-wedlock births. These are real. I mean, it's not just saying, well, wouldn't it be nice if moms marry dads and they raise families? It's important for limited government where you have a broken family. You have big government coming in and trying to repair the damage. So this is important to understand that America is a moral enterprise founded on traditional values and the family. And if our value structure breaks down, well, guess what's going to break down? Our economy is going to break down, just like the bubble that occurred in 2008 because people behaved very badly and immorally and illegally. And all of these things are important to understand. And unless we have that strength, we're not going to be successful as a country.
A lot of Palin supporters have expressed they may still write in Governor Palin or they don't know who to vote for. Can you speak to them directly and tell them why they should feel comfortable if they pull the lever for a Rick Santorum?
Well, I would just say this, that, I think what Governor Palin said, I appreciate it, and that, she talked about how, we've been a consistent conservative, someone who stood up like Governor Palin did on all of the issues. She wasn't a one-trick pony. I mean, she didn't just talk about the economy. She talked about the family and human life, and was courageous and a fighter, on making sure that we were strong in a Reagan sense for our national security. And she had a consistent record, and that's the key. I mean, I had a consistent record. Is it perfect? No, by no means is it perfect. But if you look at my record, you never saw Rick Santorum out there advocating for something that was against the traditional values of this country, against the values that our founders laid in our Constitution. We stood for limited government, and for free people, and for and traditional values and peace through strength. And that's where the governor has been, and that's why I was very pleased that she recognized that the other day.
Senator, how's the family?
Well, I'm sure Governor Palin would tell you when she was running her campaign and traveling all over the country. It's hard. It's really hard, and I'm sure that weighed on her. It's weighing on me. I mean, it's not easy to be away from your kids and to make the sacrifices and have your kids. We've been blessed so far. We haven't experienced anything like Governor Palin has, with the media just trashing her family and taking her family apart. I've had that happen in my Senate races, but so far they've only really gone after, in a very similar way what they did with Governor Palin with Trigg. They've done that with my little special needs little girl, Bella, and, criticizing me for being away from her, or criticizing me for even talking about her, or for even having her. Those, the same things that they threw at the governor, they're throwing at me. And, I take some strength from the fact that she stood up for it, and she stood strong, and actually, I think, communicated a message of the value of every human life, and how wonderful these children are, and how special and truly special they are for our society and for our family.
Absolutely. Well said, sir. Listen, best of luck to you in Iowa and beyond, and we appreciate you paying a visit to the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio.
My pleasure. Thank you. God bless.
Thanks very much. Senator Rick Santorum certainly sounds like a guy in it to win it. It will be interesting to track his progress and see just how much his recent Barracuda bounce helps. If Governor Palin is to endorse Santorum, Gingrich, or anyone else for that matter, don't expect it before Iowa. Palin recently indicated she will let the process in the Hawkeye state play out before she gets behind a contender officially. Governor Palin is encouraging Republican candidates to participate in Donald Trump's upcoming debate. Two hopefuls, Mitt Romney and John Huntsman, have both said they won't be participating. That'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. Be sure to visit saranetradio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, follow us on Twitter at SaraNet Radio, and we're now on Facebook, so make sure you like SaraNet Radio on Facebook. I want to thank everyone here at SaraNet Radio. Thanks to Senator Rick Santorum, and thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.